everybody. I'm Carolyn Cooper with CFIN, and today I'm talking to Crystal Mackay, who is the coordinator of Food Day Canada. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Food Day Canada?
We're really excited to say it's the 20th anniversary of Food Day Canada coming up this August 5th. And it's just an incredible celebration of all things Canadian food and farming. And the tagline is shining a light on Canadian cuisine. So it can happen everywhere and anywhere from coast to coast, as long as you're celebrating with a Canadian ingredient or the people in our food system. It's meant to be a really inclusive.
Okay, so are there any special plans for this year's event?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of things happening. The theme is shine a light on Canadian cuisine and the incredible people in the food system, which of course include all your members, to say, let's show some gratitude and some thanks, as well as raise a glass and celebrate with our incredible Canadian food and drinks. So for the 20th anniversary, there's a number of things happening, starting with our Shine a Light campaign. So we have over 50 icons, things like Parliament buildings and Niagara Falls and CN Tower, all being lit up red and white across the
Wow.
country. So that's really fun. And anybody can shine a light on an icon near them. It could be their own building or restaurant or processing plant, as long as it's red or white. We've had farmers shine a light on their silos and great fun. So from a silo to Niagara Falls, anything can be lit up red and white at that week, the long weekend in August 5th. Secondly, we have menus happening across the country. We have over 150 restaurant partners that'll all be doing special menus. And we say Food Day Canada can be every day of the year. August 5th is the big day, but a lot of restaurants and partners do menus for a whole week where they feature the incredible Canadian ingredients that we have and put the Food Day Canada logo on things. And it really comes to life online. So anybody can join in with hashtag Food Day Canada, tag us so we can share it. Last year, our social media reach had over 60 million with $0. This is all grassroots. It's meant for anybody to participate. So you and I can just enjoy an ice cream cone or go out for a glass of wine or a beer or an incredible dinner at one of our restaurant partners and share it in your stories to be like, this is my favorite ingredient. This is my favorite recipe. This is my favorite restaurant. These are my favorite people. Hashtag Food Day Canada. You're part of the conversation. And there will be an official kickoff on August 3rd, August 1st, the Tuesday in Elora, where we have closed off the bridge in Elora. There's a pedestrian bridge that we've closed off that a number of chefs from around the Wellington County are coming together to do special tasting menus, and people can just walk up and get plates. So that'll be happening August 1st in Elora from 4 till 10 p.m. as the official kickoff with a number of dignitaries. But really, it's anywhere, everywhere. Just hashtag Food Day Canada.
Sounds great. So, what do you think the impact of 20 years of Food Day Canada has been?
Mm. That's a great question. So the founder was a dear friend of mine, the late Anita Stewart, who many in the food system knew, and particularly a good friend to many chefs across the country. She started this 20 years ago in a dark time. And for those of people who worked in the food industry or farming, 2003 was BSE, mad cow disease, a very devastating time for our beef industry. So Anita started calling her chef friends, asking them to be sure they had Canadian beef on the menu. And that at that time, and always, we should be supporting our Canadian farmers. We grow some of the best food in the world and the best beef in the world. So let's make sure that's on your menu. And quite frankly, at the time, Anita was a pioneer and a trailblazer. A lot of the chefs answered her calls with, I don't know where our beef is from. It's not like
Mm.
today. This was early days of this conversation. They're like, we just get whatever our supplier gives us, as long as it's tender and, good marbling. We didn't ask where it was from before. So she created originally, it was called the world's longest barbecue to encourage chefs and Canadians to put Canadian beef on the menu. And for that work, which led to Food Day Canada, she was given Order of Canada as just being a real pioneer in food sovereignty and the conversation around the value of having Canadian food. So things have really changed in 20 years in a
Right.
great way. Lots of menus of Canadian ingredients all year round, which is really the goal. And what we we see from our data, and again, it's all volunteer, grassroots driven. This is not a big, well-funded PR machine by any means. You and I are on the team, everybody, all your members are on the team, and together we all, float all boats higher, right? Elevate the conversation. So last year, as an example, over 60 million social media impressions, double that on media, traditional media impressions, with a 96% positive sentiment. And when I just use that little nugget to just say, our industry has some tough issues. Feeding the country, feeding our world is not always easy. And what makes the news, you know better than anyone, it's often bad news makes the news, right? So Food Day Canada is Anita's vision, and which is alive and well, is the one day of the year, or, we like to say the month leading up to, or the week leading up
Right.
to. Anytime people think Food Day Canada, Canadians can't and shouldn't ignore the incredible food system that we enjoy. So it's a chance to show gratitude, raise a glass, celebrate, and just have some positive time to say, feeding our country is a pretty amazing space to work in. And for those of us who like to eat, which I like to think is 100% of us, you can take part and say, isn't it amazing that we have this incredible food, and let's raise a glass and hashtag Food Day Canada to share about it.
And it's actually been declared a National Food Day. Is that correct?
Exactly. This past year, a longtime goal of Anita Stewart's was to have the work that Food Day Canada does, and that one day where Canadians can't ignore this incredible food system that you and all your members work in, was enshrined in an act. It was an unprecedented way. It was passed as a Senate bill first in 2022, and then went to the House of Commons. So in a very fast, unanimously declared Food Day in Canada Act, which was just passed May of 2023. So great government support nationally. In Ontario, we do have a Food Day Canada in Ontario Act as well that was passed in 2021. And we see many mayors across the country, as well as ministers of agriculture, proclaiming Food Day Canada in BC, Food Day Canada in Saskatchewan, Food Day Canada in Nova Scotia, Food Day Canada in Toronto by the mayor. So, and that is really everything that Food Day Canada does. One person had a good idea and then it multiplies. And so we see great government support. And the beautiful thing about when a minister of agriculture or a mayor, like the city of Toronto, proclaiming Food Day Canada in that region, is they share the message with their constituents, which are much broader than, our tiny channels. So it's just, we love that everybody can own it. It's meant for everybody and anybody to be part of it.
So is there anything else that you can perhaps suggest how food retailers and food processors, as well as restaurant owners, how they can get involved as well? You talked about shining a light on businesses and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love particularly to see more food processors and ingredient suppliers take part in the celebration. It started predominantly with chefs. I've worked really hard to bring agriculture and farmers to the table, pun intended. So we'd love to see some more retailers and food companies come to the table as well. And what can they do? If they go to fooddaycanada.ca, our website, there is a pledge. You can take the pledge to say you're going to participate. It's not a huge cumbersome thing. It just takes like 1 minute to say, we're going to shine a light on Canadian cuisine, and then to share their stories and add hashtag Food Day Canada or tag us at Food Day Canada to join the conversation. So to say, we're proud to bring this ingredient to the table, or, here's our people that help, here's our scientists, here's our people on the ground, here's our people in the plant, introduce your people to along with your ingredients. Here's their food favorite recipe. Some companies do a team engagement piece around it too. We see a lot of restaurants. So when we ask chefs and restaurant owners the value of participating in Food Day, in addition to the external value, which we talked about, there was a great piece around employee engagement, that the team gets excited about creating a menu and sharing things. Some companies have a potluck. Other companies, one bank, for example, did hashtag team, their bank name, and they encouraged all their employees to share their favorite Canadian food, with their, on social media, but also as a bit of a competition internally. So it's just some fun, to have a bit of fun and a celebration. It's summer, local foods in season from coast to coast. It's just just a great time to have some positive fun.
Well, that sounds great. And I'll be enjoying some Canadian food that day for sure.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, and I stretch it out to be a whole month personally, but I'm a
Right.
bit of an overachiever. But I for sure that weekend or the week leading up to it, make just people just make an effort to say, who's a person I'd like to enjoy a glass of wine with, or go out to
Mhm.
dinner with, or maybe have a barbecue at home, and just share some of those stories online so the rest of the
Right.
world can hear about it.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Crystal.
Yeah. Thanks for having
Okay.
me.
Bye.